Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to today's video. Here in the UK, this week has been Coeliac Awareness Week. Now, I myself am not celiac, but it is an illness that affects what people can eat, and this is primarily a food channel, so it seemed a fitting topic to cover in today's video. If you're a regular viewer, you probably know I'm friendly with Gababetic. She has diabetes type 1 and celiac disease. I am going to be doing a Finding the Best supermarket gluten-free cookie. Now, I have disappointingly only got 6 boxes to try. I have gone for a variety of flavours, although some of them are duplicates of one another. Aldi had no gluten-free cookies. I asked in both branches near me, they don't do them. Co-op do them, but they've been out of stock for about 3 weeks. So I need to get the video done. I can't wait for them to come into stock. And I haven't got any from Waitrose because I very rarely order from Waitrose. Can't get to a Waitrose shop. I have to get an online delivery, and I'm not prepared to pay £40 just to get a box of cookies for a video. 6, I think, is plenty anyway. So I'm just going to try a bit of each cookie, and then I'm going to rank them from best to worst. And I'm also going to give you some facts about celiac disease, just so that if you don't know that much about it, by the end of this video, you'll know a bit more than you do right now. So I'm going to get started with the cookies. I'm going to start with M&S, and I went for their fruity flapjack cookies. All butter oat cookies with raisins, coconut and apricots. Now, I don't like flapjacks, but the flavours in these sounded really, really good, and I just wanted, as I say, to try and get as many different flavours as possible. You know what I've done, guys? Yet again, I haven't got a plate. I'll be right back. First impressions, it's quite small and it's quite thin, but it does feel quite soft. Celiac disease is a serious illness where the body's immune system attacks its own tissues when you eat gluten. This damages the lining of the gut, preventing the proper absorption of nutrients. Celiac disease is not an allergy or intolerance. This turns out to be far nicer than I was expecting it to be. I can taste all 3 flavours. And the textures, you've got the oats, you've got the juicier raisins, the crunchy bits of coconut and the soft apricots. So these are actually really, really delicious. And one thing I will say, I would not be able to tell you that these were gluten-free if I didn't know. I can eat gluten, so when I have cookies, they're not gluten-free usually, and yeah, this is really, really good. So M&S are the ones to beat. Morrisons fruit and oat cookies, which are apparently packed with juicy raisins. Oat and raisin cookies are one of my favourites. First impressions, more uniform in shape, but it looks like it might be burnt. It also feels quite hard, and it definitely doesn't appear as appetizing to me as the M&S ones, but maybe I'll be surprised. Celiac disease affects 1 in every 100 people, but only about 36% of those living with the condition have been diagnosed with it. It's often misdiagnosed as IBS, and it's most common in those of Irish descent. This is pretty awful. It's very bland. Yes, you get the juicy raisins when you get some in your mouth, but otherwise it's a very oaty but tasteless biscuit. It's not as hard to bite into as I thought it would be, but getting through this pack of biscuits would be more of an ordeal than a temptation. These are definitely not as good as M&S. And the final box in the oat and raisin flavour selection comes from Sainsburys, and it's their oat and Sultana cookies. First impressions, definitely better than Morrisons. They've got a very uniform shape and thickness, and they do appear to have a decent number of sultanas in. Again though, it feels like it might be quite tough. Coeliac disease is a genetic condition. The first step in diagnosis is a blood test to check for antibodies made by the body in response to gluten. If this test is positive, a person will usually then be referred to a specialist for an endoscopy with biopsy. Since it is a genetic disease, there is currently no cure. Definitely better than Morrisons, without any doubt. It's got a butteriness to the taste, and although there isn't as much flavour as there is with the M&S, it's still a really good biscuit and not as hard again as I was thinking it was going to be. I think M&S has more flavour because there are more flavours in the ingredients. This is just sultanas, whereas that is apricots, coconuts and raisins. I think I'm actually going to put this first. The M&S is a very close second though. It's more because of the flapjack taste the M&S ones have. That's why I prefer these ones from Sainsbury's so far. So we now move on from oat and raisin to white chocolate and fruit flavours. So I'm going to start with Tesco Finest white chocolate and cranberry cookies. I actually didn't realise that I'd got 3 of one flavour and 3 of another. These are super hard and super dark. I mean, you can see the bits of cranberry and white chocolate in them. The symptoms of celiac disease are many and varied. Not everyone will experience all of them, and the severity with which they experience them may also differ. Some of the most common are frequent bouts of diarrhoea, nausea or vomiting, gas and bloating, stomach pain and cramping. You can taste the white chocolate and you can taste the cranberry. The actual biscuit is very, very oaty in texture, but very bland in taste. You do get the taste of the white chocolate and the cranberry, which is nice. So it's not awful, but I could tell you this was not a normal cookie, for want of a better term. It's going between M&S and Morrisons on my scale for the moment. Asda white chocolate and raspberry. One thing I will say is all the packaging makes it abundantly clear that these are free from, and that is crucial. First impressions, instantly more appealing than Tesco, simply because it's not as dark in colour. However, other than the merest hint of pink, I'm not really seeing much in the way of raspberry. Even a small amount of gluten can trigger a response in someone who has celiac disease. It's therefore important to avoid cross-contamination of food. You may think a couple of breadcrumbs can't hurt. In reality, even such a tiny amount of gluten can make someone with celiac disease very ill. Definitely the least oaty in texture of all the ones I've tried so far. It does have the raspberry and white chocolate flavouring, but the biscuit is much harder than I like my cookies to be. I like them to have a bit of give in them, but I'm aware that with gluten-free, it's sometimes just not possible. So I think I'm probably going to put this between Tesco and Morrisons, so second from the bottom. The only ones so far I would not want to have again would be Morrisons. I would actively avoid getting them. The others, I'd be happy enough to eat. Finally, we have cranberry and white chocolate again. I do like cranberry as a flavour. Cranberry juice on its own, it's a bit too crisp and dry for me, but with other things, vodka being a good one, is quite nice. So, Lidl do them, Aldi don't, go figure. Very small, but quite chunky, quite dark, but you can see plenty of pieces of white chocolate and some bits of fruit in it. One thing I will say is that it's so much more expensive for gluten-free or free-from cookies than for normal ones. And to me, that's a bit unfair. Yes, a lot of people can choose whether or not to have a gluten-free diet, but if you're someone who has celiac disease, it's not a choice. You have to follow it or you're going to get extremely unwell. Left untreated, celiac disease will cause the villi in the gut to become inflamed and flattened. This leads to malabsorption, which in turn leads to things such as anemia, osteoporosis, and other conditions associated with malnutrition. Some sufferers may develop a rash called dermatitis herpetiformis. Guys, this is incredible. It's actually a lot softer than I thought. I seem to be saying that a lot in this video. It does have a slightly oaty texture, but not too oaty. You can taste the cranberry, you can taste the white chocolate. It's got loads of flavour. You've got the texture from the cranberries, which is soft, and then sort of oaty texture, as I mentioned, and the creamy white chocolate pieces as well. I think these are going to be my number 2. In first place, I have Sainsburys. In second place, I have Lidl. And in third place, I have M&S. So if you're looking for gluten-free cookies, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, then I would suggest Lidl, Sainsburys and M&S are the places to go. Don't have Morrisons cookies. They are not nice at all. But that has been my roundup of gluten-free cookies for 2023. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Please do leave me a comment in the box below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because so many people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel, and it helps me out loads, and it just takes a second to hit that subscribe button. And I hope that you'll come back for my next video. And if you do want to know more about celiac disease, go check out Gababetic's channel. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care. Bye.